Hello. Can you hear?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Sarah, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear
We
you.
can hear you. Okay, Sarah.
Okay.
Sarah, we are waiting for Sarah Uaganya. He's not
Okay.
not here yet. Yes.
Okay, we can wait.
Okay. Sarah, could you please repeat the yesterday the
Okay.
4-part conclusion about the Samadhi Sambojjhanga?
Mhm. Okay, sure.
Yes. Sadhu. Sarah, we will just wait for a while. Sarah not here yet.
Okay.
Yes. Sarah?
Okay.
Sarah?
Okay, can you hear me?
Need to start? Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Mondami Siado and good evening, everyone. Good morning for everyone in the East Hemisphere. Welcome to the 7-day plus 14-day Samatha-Vipassanā Meditation Retreat conducted by Sarah Uaganya and Sarah Kovida. Today, Sarah Kovida will continue with the Dharma talk on Bojjhanga Sutta Part 19. May we now respectfully invite Sarah to start today's Dharma talk, and may we invite both Bante, interpreter Bante, to start the translation. Sadhu.
Okay, now we will pay homage to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Yesterday we have started Bojjhanga Sutta, Samadhi Sambojjhanga. Unfortunately, connection is very poor, so we cannot finish smoothly. So now I should repeat the last part. So 6, Sambhasanada, the gradient of the mind on occasion. So not having joy or calmness, or having weak wisdom, mind will feel tasteless, then reflects the basis of sensual urgency. Then we have different base of sensual urgency, such as rebirth, sickness, aging. So we can also see periodically in newly born baby, they cannot walk, they cannot eat by themselves. Somebody must help. Similarly, when we are seriously sick, we cannot carry our body, then somebody must help. When we grow very old also, we cannot carry our body, somebody must help us. So in this case, we cannot meditate very well. Then we can also recall this kind of things, we can also feel sense of urgency. Another thing is suffering in the samsara in the past, suffering in the future, in the hell, or in a awful state. Then suffering in this very life with struggling for surviving. So everybody had to suffer for surviving working for many different things. So when we have all these recollections, we can feel sense of urgency. Then it will make our mind stronger. Then next one, Samaye Achupakanata. The regarding of the mind without interfering on occasion. Here I also give the simile of a charioteer. When the two horses are running properly, the charioteer need not control the horses. Similarly, when the five controlling faculties are balanced, the meditator need not control his mind. This is just simile. Sometimes our mind and object are very harmonious. We don't need to struggle. That means two horses are running properly. One is the object, another thing is the mind. So as long as we can know the object automatically, effortlessly, we don't need to struggle too much. Just maintain the quality. Is it good enough? We also call Viriyupaka, equanimous effort. 8. Asamahita Bukala Parivachanata. In every single enlightenment factor, so we also have somebody to be avoided and somebody to be associated with. So here, Asamahita Bukalami, to avoid the person is who is not interested in jhana, has never practiced samatha before, or made efforts to be busy with many activities. So that means there are some meditator or some people, they have never practiced samatha, then they have never experienced any jhana or anything. They're not very interested in jhana also. Not only that, they may talk about negative. The negative about jhana also. Right? For example, if you practice jhana, you may go crazy. In modern society, jhana is not important. Vipassana is more important. Then they may have many reasons. If you have to listen to their words, their speech, then you may not have willingness to practice. That's why this is also important to avoid Asamahita Bukala. Then we also have number 9, Samahita Bukala Sevanata, association with people who have concentrated minds. If somebody has very good concentrations, we can emulate or aspire to their way of practice. The meditator should also associate with a concentrated mind. So that means if we associate with those who are eager to practice samatha, who is practicing to attain jhana or who has attained jhana, if we associate with this kind of people, then we may have some motivation. It will be better for us to do our practice. Then this is also important. Then again, 10. Jhana vimokkha paccavakanata, reflection on the absorption and emancipations. So the Buddha explained 8 jhanas, the absorptions, and 8 vimokkhas, the emancipation, in many discourses. Okay, now we should talk about material jhana and immaterial jhana. So as you have already known, material jhana means first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. These are called material jhana. For immaterial jhana, it will be a little bit different. Nothingness jhana, boundless space jhana, boundless consciousness jhanas, nothingness jhana, neither perception nor non-perception jhana. These are called 8 attainment or 8 jhanas, 8 absorptions. Now for about 8 vimokha, emancipations, it will be quite different from all the jhanas. This is also referred to jhanas. So we have 3 different material jhanas mentioned there. The first one is internal objects. By taking internal objects, internal body parts as objects, we can also continue practicing kasina. For example, taking head hair as objects, we can practice black kasina. Taking blood as objects, we can also practice red kasina. Taking fat and urine, we can also practice yellow kasina, taking bone, teeth, and several eyes as objects, we can also practice white kasina. So this is called taking internal one as objects. This also we can also take first jhana to fourth jhana. Then sometimes also mention external one as objects. External one as object means we may have a piece of cloth, piece of paper, or flowers, or any materials taken down as object. We can also practice kasina. For example, white piece of paper, white piece of cloth, white flower, taking one of them as objects, we can also practice kasina, white kasina. Similarly, yellow flower, yellow piece of cloth, yellow paper, yellow plastic, anything taken as objects, we can also practice yellow kasina. Similarly, red flower, red piece of cloth, and so on, we can also practice. Black one, black piece of clothes, and so on, we can also practice black kasina. This is taking external one as object. Not only that, they also mention practicing all other kasina also. The main thing is after attaining kasina jhanas, we can also proceed practicing immaterial jhana. When we talk about emancipation, the first one is taking external, taking internal. The second one is taking external. The third one is a beautiful object. Okay, for example, when we are practicing kasina, we were expanded, we developed kasina, we call beautiful kasina. It doesn't mean when we are focusing on the kasina, we must know the beautiful, not like this, right? People can misunderstand. That's why I have to say that one. It doesn't mean we have to know as a beautiful, just keep knowing kasina as object. Then by merely focusing on the kasina subject, we can also attain jhana. This is the first three. The first three are material jhanas. So another of these four immaterial jhana: boundless space, boundless consciousness, nothingness jhana, and neither perception nor non-perception. Altogether 7. So here I mentioned 8 vimokkha. The last vimokkha is sanya virahita. Sanya means perception, vedana means feeling, nirodha means vedana means feeling. After that, nirodha means cessation. Cessations of perception and feeling. That means nirodha samapatti. So entirely in nirodha samapatti, he spent his time. So he just recorded all these things. This is also called emancipation. If we summarize emancipation, there are 3 different material jhanas taking different objects. Then there will be 4 immaterial jhanas and nirodha samapatti, altogether 8. These are called emancipation. So relation on absorption and emancipations, we can also develop the enlightenment factor of concentration. So we can also understand that we have to go very far. No, it should be more than that, more than now also, right? Now 11, the inclination towards the development of enlightenment factor of concentration. So in this case, willingness or supreme desire to attain jhana anytime, anywhere. In this case, we can also understand willingness to develop in any posture, in any conditions. If we have willingness, if we are our mind inclined to improve enlightenment factor of concentration, then we can improve it. So this Rajimodata can be found in every single enlightenment factors we have already learned before. Okay, again now. How we can find in the Pali Canon, Vitiva Kamuvita Kusli Dhammihi, Savitakan, Savitan, Vivekajan, Bidi Sukhan, Pataman Jana, Ubasamaja Viharati. This is the Pali words. We can find the same Pali formula in every single teaching of first jhana. Now, similarly, we can also find many other teaching in the second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. It will be too long. That's why I don't list out here. Uvijja kawe uvijiva kamehi, that means being free from sensual pleasure. So attaining jhana, one's mind is free from defilements, they call kilesa kama. Another thing is sensual pleasure, vatu kama. That means defilements that make sensual pleasure cannot arise at the moment of jhana attainment. So briefly, when we are in the jhana, we cannot know any sensual pleasure, then we may not have any sensual desire and other defilements. Then as the fire will extinguish automatically if there's no fuel, there will be no defilements, fire, if there's no more sensual object. So we have defilements that we add many fuel to our minds, taking many different desirable objects, sensual objects. So now if we don't have any sensual objects, our mind does not incline to it, then that we can extinguish the defilements naturally. Which agusalehi damehi, being free from unwholesome. This means we direct confirm, right? Actually, Otu Karma, Kilisa Karma also actually Agusala Dhamma. So why we have to do two different types? Kilisa Karma is Otu Karma and Kilisa Karmas are really opposites, right? It's very risky for meditators. That's why the Buddha said this one. So now, Buddha also say all other Kusala Dhamma, not only Karma, this is the most dangerous one, that's why the Buddha says separately. We also have to be free from all other akusala dhamma, unwholesome dhammas. So these two are called pahananga of jhana, abandoned jhana fetters. We can also say vikambana. By the power of jhana, we can subside all the types of defilements. The rest of jhanas, the rest of fetters are called sampayokanga. For example, Savitakan, Savicharan, Vivekajan, Biti Sukhan, all are sampayokanga, associated fetters. In the first jhana, we have already learned many times Vitaka, initial application, Vichara, such implication, Piti, rapture or joy, Sukha, happiness or bliss, then Ubeka, one-bodiness. These jhana fetters will arise together. That's when they are called sampayokanga, associated fetter. So there are 10 qualities of jhana. Jhana is good in the beginning with the purity in 3 aspects. Being free from hindrances, the mind is pure. So the first thing is purity of the mind, because it is free from hindrances. That means if we are practicing righteously, our mind can be pure and being free from defilements, hindrances. Having medium mind toward nimitta, without laziness and restlessness. So that means our minds are so strong or so weak that it can be side effects. When our mind becomes very weak, we may feel lazy. When our mind becomes very strong, very active, at the time it also can produce restlessness. So we have medium mind toward the nimitta. The absorption in the nimitta. This is also, the mind can absorb the nimitta. Okay, if we summarize, the first 3 are purity of the practice, we can say. So mind also pure, also keep knowing objects with pure minds without excessive effort or excessive mind. The mind can absorb in it. That's what we call purity of practice. It's good in the very beginning. Dhamma is good in the middle with equanimity in 3 aspects. Equanimity towards purity of mind. Although mind is pure, we don't have attachment to it, more equanimity toward it. Equanimity toward we're focusing mind on the right object, the medium mind. So we have already said medium mind. Although mind is medium mind, very good conditions, we don't have attachment to it. Equanimity towards medium mind. Equanimity toward one-pointedness mind, one-pointed mind that does not associate with defilements. So here in this case, when we talk about equanimity, this equanimity is jhanupekha. So in the case of jhana, also we have upekha, equanimity. That's what we call jhanupekha. Previously, when we talk about like equanimity towards the jhana and object, right? We have already mentioned before, like a charutiya, or right? Charutiya's example, simile. At the time we call Viryupaka. The we is not excessive, or not very weak. But here in this case, equanimity is a jhanupaka. Equanimity toward jhanas. Okay, now here purity of mind. This is also jhana. When you focus the mind on the right objects, this is also the quality of jhana. Equanimity towards one-bodied minds. This is also jhana minds actually. Anyway, the main thing is in the second part, the good in the middle is equanimity. When we have all this equanimity, that means our jhana is qualified enough. Then jhana is good in the end for the joy in four aspects. Joy due to balancing jhana dhammas. That means all the jhana dhamma arise. None of them are excessive. This is called balancing. For example, when one of them is very excessive, very strong, or other things cannot work properly, okay, vertically. When we have very strong efforts, excessive efforts, then saddha cannot do saddha timaka, right decision. Then panya cannot know the object deeply. The concentration also cannot well. That means one body is also not so strong. That's why balancing all the jhana dhammas. Again, B. Join due to having the same functions of controlling faculties, that all of them have a function of freedom from defilements. For example, saddha also make defilements free from, do it away from the mind. Similarly, sati, samadhi, panya, and all the controlling faculties, all of them are functioning the same, working for the same things, to be free from defilements. Then join due to balancing efforts for those controlling faculties. Among the controlling faculties, the effort is also one of the factors. It's also important. If effort becomes excessive or weak, then all the controlling faculties cannot work. That's one is also important. Now this one, join due to repeatedly arising of all associated dhammas. So that means all associated dhamma arise many times repeatedly. Because of that, there's a join also. Okay, one more thing. People also equanimity. This one's a join. These two are contradict. How to understand? So although we have a join, it doesn't mean our mind follow the join. Right? That means we have equanimity to our join also. Because previous one mentioned only one body mind, right? Keep knowing one thing. So here join means, for example, we have sukha among the jhana factors. When sukha arrives, because of all these things, sukha arrives. But there's a jhanupeka, although we have very strong bliss, very strong happiness, very strong joy, our mind will not follow the joy. Just keep knowing the nimitta continuously. These are called 10 jhanas quality. Okay, today, we have to continue talking about the enlightenment factor of equanimity. So we have many different types of equanimity. In Pali, we also call upekha. For example, free from love and hate, happiness and sorrow, pleasant and unpleasant. This is also called upekha, equanimity. For example, when we radiate upekha meditation, when we are practicing upekha meditation, at the time, our minds are free from love and hate. When we talk about upekha feeling, it is neither happiness nor sorrow, neither pleasant nor unpleasant. This is called upekha, equanimities. Equanimities. This is the difference again. Okay, now, most of the time people have equanimous mind toward objects, not taking any desirable or undesirable object, or not thinking the object as a desirable or undesirable. Mostly, in our community, there are some people we love, there are some people we hate. There are many people neither hate nor love. So let me, for about overcome practice also, we have more people. Similarly, most of the time, our mind is neither happiness nor happiness. Feeling also the same. So in one day, we just feel happy very little seconds, very few seconds, very limited seconds. We cannot feel happy whole day, whole night. Right? Although we are happy for many different things, but only short time we feel happiness. The main thing is we have more equanimous minds in our daily life. Similarly, we have very limited desirable things, very limited undesirable things also. There are many objects we don't feel desirable or undesirable. It's a more number, bigger number. So now again, there are many types of equanimity, such as equanimous efforts, equanimous feeling, and so forth. For about equanimous effort, we have already mentioned many times. So for example, in the practice, when you are practicing, as long as you can know breathing, don't put any extra efforts. Just keep knowing it naturally. Let me maintain effort. Equanimous feeling, I already mentioned it on the top. Free from happiness and unhappiness. Pleasant or unpleasant, this is called equanimous feeling. Actually, now we are going to talk about enlightenment factors. When we are going to talk about enlightenment factors, then it will be a little bit different from other ubeka. This is just for normal equanimity. Equanimous toward living things or non-living things. Okay, one more thing. Sometimes when we say equanimous toward living things, you may also misunderstand. What about ubeka meditation? This is also equanimity towards living things. But here we have both living things or non-living things. This is it. Equanimity, enlightenment factor. Okay, now, 1. So there are 5 things lead to the rising of enlightenment factor of equanimity. Satta Majata Da. Equanimity towards beings. Having karma ownership, knowledge, and understanding ultimate truth. As a no man, no woman, no beings, and so on. As if we have perception of living things, living beings, and we cannot have equanimity when we have thoroughly discerned ultimate reality, aggregate basis elements, we can have equanimity toward living beings. This is an example. Okay, one more thing here. When we say karma ownership, it's really very easy to say, but not that easy to practice. For example, when we love somebody or hate somebody, we just think he come to this existence by his own karma. When we have this kind of view or this kind of understanding, we can say we have karma ownership knowledge. Similarly, he will live this life, this existence by his own karma. It's not under our control, right? When we have this kind of understanding, this is called karma ownership. So everybody comes to this world, this existence, by their karma. So when their karma was over, then they will pass away. They will go to another existence, in other words. This is also called karma ownership. When we come and go, we just come alone. We just go back alone. None of our friends will accompany us. Right? We must come alone, we must go alone to every single existence. Then we cannot bring our property also. Right? We just bring our karma to everywhere. Then when we have good karmas, we will be in the good life. When we have bad karma, we will be in the bad life, bad existences. So that is why for living beings, we must have karma ownership knowledge. This is also important. If we don't know karma ownership, okay, we have another exception. This is understanding ultimate truth. So that means when we can practice 4 elements, for example, okay, we will not talk about all other nama-rupas, right? Only 4 elements, for example. When we can discern 4 elements thoroughly, and we can also review or recollect the 4 elements of all other living beings, that we may have less attachment to living things. This is also important. So having equanimous mind toward living beings without love and hate, this is what we call Samatha-Vipassanā. Most of the people have a different feeling towards most of the living beings. I have already said before, we have most of the time equanimous feeling. Then 2, Sankara-Majjata. Recollecting the impermanent nature of things and the nature of decay out of one's control and as borrowed things. This is Sankara-Majjata. Actually, both living things and non-living things are really disturbing. For example, if we love somebody, we just want to see him or her continuously. This is also suffering. We don't want to hear their voice, their sound. And this is also a big problem, big dukkha. So the main thing is, for living things and non-living things, we should have equanimities. This is called Bojjhanga. Okay, when we talk about non-living things also here, impermanent nature of living things. Sorry, non-living things. Also, he also mentioned nature of decay out of our one's control as a borrowed things. This is important. Borrowed things. So after borrowed, we must return to the owner. Right? This is the call. Sankara-Majjata. Okay, for example, your pocket money. It's just a visitor to you. When you buy something, they will go to another owner. Right? All the money in your market, in your bank account are visitor. They just come to see you for a short time. As soon as you have to buy something, they will go to another owner. Okay, here, this is just a visitor, right? For example, borrow, then they say, you just borrow other people's properties. Then, when time's up, you must return to the owner. So, maybe you may have a loan house, maybe, right? Then you have to pay money for it. Then it becomes your house. But when you sell your house, it will be another owner again. Okay, the main thing is, all our belongings are just temporary. We have temporary belonging. Even our lives are temporary, right? We can imagine all other things are just temporary. So in the case of Samatha-Vipassanā also, we can understand the same. All the people are just visitors. For example, parents and children. All of them are visitors to each other. For example, my parents are visitors for my life. I'm also a visitor for their life, in their life. So that means if we understand we all are visitors, we all are just temporary, then we may have less attachment to living things or non-living things. We can also develop the enlightenment factor of equanimity. So actually, there are many ways to have equanimities. For example, for arhats, we also the Pali word Chalangupekha. Chalangupekha means we have 6 objects. So for eyes, we have visible objects. For ear, we have sound object or audible objects. For nose, smell. Then for tongue, taste. For the body, touch or tangible. For the mind, then we have mind objects. So when arhats experience all these 6 objects, they have equanimity. This is also called Chalanguppika. Once they can change their perception easily. For example, the designer objects can be a designer object for them. They can change easily. By practicing Asubha meditation for living things, 4-element meditation to non-living things, it will be easier to change their minds. Similarly, if we practice the same, like arhats, whenever we see living things, we just think about responsiveness meditation, or think about anicca dukkha anatta. We may have less attachment to living beings. Similarly, for non-living things, we just think about 4 elements. Then it will be easier for us to overcome attachment to it. We may have more equanimity toward it. That we can also develop the enlightenment factor of equanimities. So here also I write down all our belongings today can be rubbish tomorrow. We just own them for a few moments. So you may have many clothes. Compared to me, I think you may have more clothes, more dress, because you have to go to many different ceremonies, many different meetings. Then you have to dress very well. That's why you may have many different dress compared to a bhikkhu, right? Then all the things are just temporarily. For example, today you can go to, you will wear here and there sometimes. After a few months, it will be a little bit spoiled. Then a few years later, no more, rubbish. So it depends on the property we use. Some of the property we can use whole life. Some property we just use short time. Even our furniture, right? I have seen many furniture in the rubbish, especially in US, right? Then I also have seen when I visited IKEA, right? One of the furniture house. I think many people, they return furniture to their house. They take some furniture. I also see they are doing. So that means our mind is changing. Today, we like this one. Tomorrow, we cannot like. We may like another one. We're going to use a better one, for example. That's why this is all our belonging just for a few moments. We just own for a few minutes. Then after that, no more. Okay, so if we have Saddha Sankara Majjata, we can develop the enlightenment factor of equanimity. This is one thing. Okay, now again. Saddha Sankara Kilayana Pukala Parivachanata. This is also really important. Saddha Sankara, the avoidance of persons who have too much attachment to living beings and non-living things. So, and now we can say many different things, right? For example, they may have their own pets, right? It can be a cat or a dog or any other animals. Then they will be together with their pets all the time. They will play and they will tease them, right? Like this. So too much attachment to living things. So that means they can feel happiness with their beloved pets. This is also okay. But if we emulate the way they practice, we may have strong attachment to living things. So whenever, okay, I will say one thing from Metta Sutta, right? Kulisava Nanu Kito, the Pali word. You may know this one, right? Kulisava Nanu Kito, right? So Kulesu Ananu Kito. No attachment to family. This is the statement in Metta Sutta. Also one of the quality. Why a bhikkhu must not have attachment to family or donor's family or our own family? There's one statement, Saha Soki, Saha Nandi in commentary. Saha Soki means when some of our family member had to suffer, we all have to suffer also because we have relationship. For example, when one of our family member gets sick in the hospital, all family members have to worry because they love each other. Right? When we have a worry, sometimes our decisions are wrong also because of worry too much. Too much worry also make our mind blind, our wisdom blind. So if we can subside our defiance or our emotion, is better. We can decide better. And the main thing is if we love too much, blind love, we can say, right? Blind love. Then also it's very strong emotion, then it will disturb our life. This is called Satta Kelayana, attachment to living beings too much. Because Saha Soki. Saha Nandi. Saha Nandi means when one of them was very happy, we also happy. Because we can also share happiness. So that is why we must not have attachment to living things. Some of the happiness are not really useful for practice, just for enjoyment. Then similarly, Sankhara Kelayana, attachment to non-living things. Also the same, we have many other suffering for our beloved properties, right? Our favorite property, we can say. Okay, for example, he also mentioned, to avoid one who cannot stand without seeing his beloved. It also does not allow others to touch their belongings. This also can be considered Satta Sankhara Kelayana. There are some people, they don't wish anybody to touch their properties. If somebody touches their property, they get angry easily. Then this is also one of the Sankhara Kelayana, attachment to non-living things. Too much attachment to living things. So, okay, here also we have one mention, to avoid who cannot allow their disciples to do this and also that for Sangha due to attachments. Okay, for example, I will give my own example, right? I have many disciples, for example. I love one of the disciples too much. Then when he was going to do some duty for Sangha, I said, no, don't do that, very, very tired for you. Right? This is his body. I control. You can imagine how miserable life is. Right? So he was to do cleaning in the Sangika Kuti, Sangika toilet, or Sangika washroom, or maybe bathroom, or anything. I said, no, don't do it, then it will be, right? Something just comfort to you. That's why I will not allow him to do this kind of things. This is called Satta Kelayana. Too much attachment. I cannot allow my student to do even very small things. I don't want him to be tired. This thing can be considered as Satta Kelayana. Similarly, Sankhara Kelayana. I mentioned, we don't allow anybody to touch our properties. Right? Sometimes we hide our properties in order that nobody may touch our properties. This is also called Sankhara Kelayana. Then again, we have Satta Sankhara Majjata Pukala Sevanata. Okay, here. Satta Sankhara Majjata Pukala Sevana. So that means, though, we have to associate with people who are natural or impartial in regards to living beings and non-living things. So if we have all these things, then sure, this means we are a little bit better and we can live comfortably. So return to previous topic, in Metta Sutta, Kuliswananukito, no attachment to family. So in this case, when we say no attachment to family, then this is also called Satta Majata. We have equanimous mind towards living things. So again, when we have the Sankara Majata, that means we don't have too much attachment to non-living things. Okay, the main thing is association. So if they don't have very much attachment to their family, we have to emulate the way they practice. For example, in Paotoya, there are many meditators. They have to contact their family once a week. Once a week, sometimes. Sometimes some of the meditators, they just contact once a month. There are some meditators, they have to contact their family once a year. Only, for example, like for Chinese New Year, Vietnamese, Japanese, Koreans, their New Years, and they may contact their family. Then for other countries also, in their own New Year, they may contact their family. A special day, then they may contact their family. So once a year for some meditators. So there are many meditators. They have to contact their family every day. You can imagine. Satta, Kilayana, no Satta Majata. Right? So then we can also check their conversation. Their conversation is a very important conversation, right? That means they just say only important things. They don't say many minor things. Maybe they may ask after their parents or their relatives. That's all, not more than that. After that, they can cut all the conversation and meditate. Mostly, family. When all of conditions are really very good, they don't need to contact you. When they have some problem, they will contact you, right? This is the nature of people. That's why when we have Satta Kelayana and also Sankara Kelayana, then it's very, very clear. We must not associate. Here we have Satta Machata, Sankara Machata. Equanimity towards living things and non-living things. This is really very important. So if we associate or communicate with them, then we can also follow their footsteps, the way they practice. It will be easier for us to maintain our improvement. Otherwise, we cannot maintain our meditation. Okay, now 5. Tatati mutata, the inclination for development of enlightenment factors of equanimity. Okay, we can find this statement in every single enlightenment factors, and it will be the same. For example, in every single posture, in anywhere, anytime, when your mind inclined to develop the enlightenment factor of equanimity, or when you are willing to develop the enlightenment factor of equanimity, this is called Tatati mutata. Altogether, we have 5 things that lead to the enlightenment factor of equanimity. So we can also follow it, right? But this is not easy for beginners, I also understand, but some of the parts will be useful for beginners. Okay, here I should also continue a story of a young monk. So he is a nephew of an era who lived in Koranda village, monastery, left for Rohana for learning Buddhist texts. His mother and his mother, the sister of Era, asked after her son quite often. So the Era promised that he would come back to the village together with her son after the Vasa and left the village. Okay, now the young man thought to himself, I have been Oh, here many years I should know how my mother is, and then he left Rohana. Actually, he's how his parents is actually, right? Not only mother, parents. So actually, we can say the uncle and the nephew. Uncles come back to monastery from the village. Then the nephew come from the monastery to the village on the way. They met on the way. The Era recommended the young monks to go and see his mother because his mother asked him, right, to bring her son back. Then the bhikkhu also go to see his parents. But his parents offered a dwelling for young monks, but they did not know that he was their son. They cannot recognize. A long time already they left. Maybe more than decades, maybe, right? Then they cannot recognize their son. Then the young monks did not introduce himself to his parents, although he had to receive the foods from his parents and get Dhamma every day. Actually, he was supported by his parents. So living there for 3 months of regular retreats and saying goodbye to his parents, he left the village and came back to Rohana, go back to previous monastery. So that means 3 months he lived together with his parents. He did not introduce that he was their son. Also, he also gave Dhamma every day. He also accept food every day from his parents. You can imagine how strong. Then he Kuliswa Nanugito, no attachment to family. We cannot know how was his meditation condition because it just mentioned his lifestyle here. Okay, now the Era coming to the village. So afterwards, his uncle come back to the village. Then the nephew go back to the monastery. They met on the way again. The young monks reported all the matters in the rain retreats in the village to the Era and then left. So that means he just explained all the things he was doing in the village. For example, he accept food from his parents, get Dhamma every day. This is what he was doing in the village. 3 vasa. Sorry, and 3 months in the vasa. So when the uncle, that means the Eras, the senior bhikkhu, met his younger sister, then on seeing the Era coming alone, thinking that her son passed away, his sister means the Era sister, right? The uncle sister, lamented at the foot of the Era. The Era explained that her son had been in the Gorandaka for 3 months, accepted food from them, given Dhamma every day. So he just did his duties. He just performed his duties. He didn't talk unnecessary things. We can say like that. Then, when hearing that, mother joined her palms together and facing towards her son's living place, uttered. The Blessed Ones expounded Rathavanita Sutta, Nalaka Sutta, Tuvadaka Sutta, and Mahamariyavansa Sutta, approving the monk like my son. My son is a great monk. Although he spent 3 months time coming to our house for alms food and giving Dhamma every day, he did not introduce himself to us. That means she has very strong joy, very strong happiness, having this kind of son. This is called Kuliswa Nanukito. When we talk about Satta Kilayana or Satta Machata, we must remember this story. No attachment to family. Then again, story of Nalaka. He was a nephew of Asita, Gala Devila. Okay, one more thing. I should introduce who is Asita, right? You may remember one Bodhisattva was a newly born baby. He was in the Deva realms. He is ascetic actually. He has psychic power. He can spend daytime in the Deva realms. So many divine flowers are blooming. Also, the many Devas are very happy. There are many signatures different from other days. That's why he asks, why you are so happy like this? Today Bodhisattva was born to Kapila, the second family. Then he realized it must be Suddhodana's family. He was also teacher of King Suddhodana. So he go down and see the Bodhisattva. You may have already known all the story, right? Finally, he also laugh and cry. Love me, the one will become Buddha. That's why he laugh. When he recall his lifespan, he cannot listen to the Dhamma and he cannot take any part and free knowledge from the Buddha. That's why he cry. This is his story, right? His biography. After that, later, he approached his younger sister and nephew. His nephew is the Nalaka. So they actually rich. His sister and nephew are also really rich family, very wealthy. But when he know, when Siddhartha realized that he will not live to see the Buddha, he sought out Nalaka and asked him to leave the world, and at once he became ascetic and hold himself in readiness to profit by the Buddha's enlightenment. So then when Anchor recommended the nephew, Nalaka, renounce the world, waiting for Buddha's enlightenment. So after Buddha's enlightenment, then he just came to see the Buddha. Okay? Then, here I mentioned, through possessing 80,000 crore of wealth, and he spent his time in Himalaya. That means he gave away everything. He just lived in Himalaya. When the time came, he visited the Buddha. 7 days after Buddha's first sermon, he questioned the Buddha on Monaya Paripada, also called Nalaka Paripada. Because of it's included in Nalaka Sutta. Okay, one more thing. So Monaya Paripada or Nalaka Paripada, this is a very strict practice. Very strict practice means, for example, he may go to one Pinapada for one house only for one time. He will not enter to one single house second time. This is very strict, right? Pinapada also strict. So we don't need to, like, he may not go to one place 2 times. We can say, and we can understand. Not only that, he may live under the foot of a tree. So Buddha also mentioned Rokamula, right? Rokamula means root of the tree. This is also one of the practice, Bojjhanga practice. So when you live under a tree also, he may not enter 2 times into the same tree, under the same tree. So only 1 time in one tree. After that, he may not come back to that tree anymore. So one thing is right? Many actually, right? Okay, here we should say, Nalaka retire once more in Himalaya, and they are attaining headship. So after questioning about Nalaka Paripada to the Buddha also explained he practiced well, then he attained headship in Himalaya. So he spent 7 months leaning against on the golden rock, practicing Paripada in the highest form, that is the highest practice. Then after 7 months, he passed away. So after his death, the Buddha, with his monks, visited the scenes of the death, cremated his remains, and had his jizya built over it. This is about Nalaka. Okay, the main thing is in the Nalaka Paripada, he does not have any attachment to any family. He lives freely. He will not follow anybody. Right? He just lives alone all the time. So, okay, you can imagine it's not that easy, right? If we don't enter one single house 2 times, it will be very messy in modern society. Not that easy to survive. If we don't live, if we don't spend if we don't enter the same tree 2 times, also not that easy to live in modern society. So you must be in the very deep forest, right? So that means within 1 year, you must change more than 300 trees. Sometimes you must live in the open space. So it depends on the condition you have. Okay, the main thing is they have less attachment to living things or non-living things. Satta, Sankara, Machata, Pukala. So if we can associate with that kind of people, then we may have less attachment to family also. Less attachment to living things, less attachment to non-living things. Actually, attachment makes us heavier. When we have less attachment, our mind is a little bit lighter. Then it will be easier for us to improve. Also, it's also important for us to have all this kind of quality, right? That means Satta, Sankara, Machata. Attachment, that means equanimity towards living things, equanimity towards non-living things. If we have all these things, we can develop the enlightenment factor of equanimity. It's also not for beginner. And when hearing that, you may understand it's not easy for you, right? That means it's not easy for beginners, but for those who practice do Danga, or for those who have already trained very long times in early life, so they can do all the things, they may have that attachment to family, that attachment to non-living things. Okay, so maybe read for tomorrow, right? So today we have already finished all the 7 enlightenment factors, and we also have already explained how to develop. So there are different grouping, the first 3 and the second 3. So mindfulness is always necessary. If we can develop the enlightenment factors timely, then we can also make our mind active. We can also subside our minds, our defilements. Then we can also improve our meditation. As we have mentioned in the very beginning, we can also defeat Mara's armies. Okay, here we can say we can also defeat the defilements. Then, if we can defeat the defilements, or if we can eradicate the defilements, we can also attain headship, right? So the main thing is, when we can attain headship, we don't have any defilements anymore, then we are successful in developing Bojjhanga. So the main thing is, when we say we have already completed developing Bojjhanga or practicing 3 trainings, that means we attain leadership. So before attaining leadership, we must try many ways to overcome defilements, to improve our meditation by using many different methods. So as you have already learned, controlling faculties, balancing controlling faculties, also developing enlightenment factors, all the things are really useful for our improvement. That's why the Buddha recommended his disciple to do. Okay? May you all be able to practice the 3 trainings, and may you all be able to realize final cessation and not suffering.
Thank you, Sayadaw. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sayadaw, shall we proceed to the Q&A session?
Okay, we can do.
Sayadaw. Dear Dhamma brothers and sisters, if you have any question, you may raise your hand. Any questions from the floor? Okay. Okay, Sarah, we shall take the question from the Zoom chat first.
Okay.
Okay. Question 1. Wandami Siado, if my hair is not black, does that mean that I cannot take my hair to start black kasina practice? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sure. Are you an Asian? Well, we Asian people are black, we have black hair, right? If you don't have black hair, then you dye your hair, right? So the main thing is, if you don't have black hair, sure you cannot practice, but you must take other external one, such as black piece of paper, black clothes, or something like that. Okay.
Thank you, Siado. Question 2. Wandami Siado, 1. When focusing on the nimitta keep changing, big, small, near, far, sometimes dim. What should I do? 2.
Actually,
Sometimes, oh, sorry. 2.
okay, you can
Sometimes I
go.
also feel like going inside the light or the light wrap around me. Is this also in the jhana? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. So one more thing. Actually, when you say big and small, near and far, and all the things, right? It's come from your perception. Because sanya nanata. So when you have different perceptions, there can be different shape, different color, different place. It will be normal for everybody. When your mind becomes very stable, your perception will not change, the nimitta will become stable. So, okay, here we can understand another way. Sometimes you are really focusing on the nimitta normally and then naturally. Sometimes you are a little bit curious about nimitta. That's when it happens, okay? Don't be curious about nimitta too much. Then 2. Okay, going inside the lines or wrap around you is actually a good sign. Okay, one more thing. Although it's wrapped your body, around your body, but you must keep knowing the nimitta. Right? When your mind can absorb the nimitta, we can say it's jhana. Okay, next one.
Siado. Question 3. Wandami Siado, what is absorbing in nimitta? Is it the mind going inside the light intentionally or the light pulling our mind to go inside it? Sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, sure. It can be either one you mentioned in the question, right? So the mind will go inside the lights automatically. No, not automatically, right? No, not intentionally. Automatically, it will be much better. If you do intentionally, you cannot maintain well. It will happen naturally. It will be easier for you to maintain. One more thing, right? This is the one thing. So actually, although your mind go inside the lights, you must keep knowing the nimitta. So now that the lights pull our mind to go inside. So this is also another point. So sometimes nimitta, the light will pull your body and your mind into it. But anyway, keep knowing nimitta. This is also possible. Okay? This one.
Question 4. Wandami Siado, I have practiced for many years and have nimitta light, but I still can't improve further. Would it because I do not know how to report my meditation experiences accurately to the teacher? How should we report a meditation interview effectively so that the teacher can understand our practice experiences more closely and guide us to improve? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. So that means you may have nimitta and the light. This is okay. For improvement, actually, you must be skillful. How I talk about skill and nimitta and skill absorption, right? So, for example, you may know many training on nimitta that you must learn how to stabilize your nimitta. I mean, there's a how stable, how long you can focus on nimitta. Right? This is the more important to report. This is necessary. Now that is it. What's the difficulty? So whenever you report something, you also improve 2 different things. The first thing is the improvement. Second one is the difficulty. Is it good enough? Okay. Next one.
Question 5. Wandami Siado, if one emerges from jhana, can one be influenced easily by anger if provoked? Or their reactive temperament can become after being matured in jhana? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, if the temperament or habit is a little difficult to change. One more thing, when you get angry, you will get lost. You will lose jhana frequently. Right? This kind of thing is not really very good thing to do. So the main thing is temperament, right? Is it not very easy to change? If you can change your temperament, it will be better. Otherwise, then it will be very risky for you. Sometimes you can be in the jhana, sometimes you get lost everything. It can happen like this.
Thank you, Sayadaw. Question 6. Wandami Sayadaw. When focusing on the breath, if I'm consciously know the mind doesn't observe the start of breathing in and end of breathing out, and that I'm feeling chill and natural, should I purposely use some effort to observe the whole process, or I should just keep it is, and it will observe the whole process automatically? Sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, it depends on what kind of breath you have. For example, when you have started breath, you cannot know whole process. You just know breathing, right? Although you cannot differentiate in or out. So in this case, you have to be a little bit careful about your breathing. When you are breathing a little bit slowly, okay, you can know from the very beginning to the end is okay. But sometimes you have very sudden breath or very short breath, then if you follow like this, you may be very tired. Okay? For example, your breathing is very, very rapid. You're trying to know in out breath very clearly, trying to know in out, right? Very rapid. You may become very tired. So when your breath becomes very fast or very rapid, just trying to know breathing normally, don't follow in and out too much. Another thing is that when you have a sudden breath, don't think about in and out or whole breath body too much. It will be more tiring for you. Okay?
Thank you, Sayadaw. Question 7. Wandami Sayadaw. 1. For metta meditation, in the beginning, I'm able to see the being's image. But when I start sending metta, the being's image become bright and not clear until I enter jhana. For this practice, are the images of different kinds of beings important before and even in the jhana? 2.
Okay.
There are 12 kinds of beings we need to see in the light. It is necessary that we see all their images before we can start sending metta. 3. Emerging from jhana, when I check the Bojjhanga mind door and nimitta, must I be able to see the image of the beings at the Bojjhanga? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, now you talk about metta and living beings, right? Actually, metta is also one of the apamanya. Right? When we study Vipassana Sangha, only Karuna Mudita are apamanya. Actually, in the meditation subjects, in the chapter of meditation, it mentioned metta, karuna, mudita, they are called apamanya. We also say Brahma Vihara. Okay? So the main thing is when we ready metta, the object of metta is living beings. Without living beings, our metta is not successful. Right? So that means when you say metta jhana, that means metta jhana must take living being as object. If your mind cannot take living being as object, it's not metta jhana. Right? That's why it's important to see living beings. Okay, here we can say there are 12 kinds of living beings. We can say 12 different approaches of living being. We can say, right? The first 5 is the same type, but we have different approach. Anyway, the main thing is, it's necessary to see the living beings in nimitta. Sorry, living being in metta meditation. Without living being, it's not really metta. You are doing other things, maybe, right? So 2 or 3 or maybe all the question will be the same, right? So if you don't have living being as an object, that means your metta is not so strong, not so powerful, not successful yet. Okay, next one.
Thank you, Sayadaw. Question 8. Wandami Sayadaw, Comparing the rebirth linking consciousness of 34 mental formation with piti versus 31 mental formation with upekkha, which one is better? What are the difference between the above two types of beings, rebirth with piti and upekkha? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, according to Bidama, when our rebirth linking consciousness associated with piti, we are easy to be happy. Right? This is also possible. Similarly, when our rebirth linking consciousness is upekkha, then we may have more upekkha in our life. Okay, we can say like this. It will affect our life also, we can say. For other things, we cannot say which one is better, right? Because this one cannot make the people difference. Only knowledge associate and dissociate will make people difference. For example, one more thing. When you are doing dharana, you may feel happy. So this one is a little bit easier for you. Later you can recall, you can rejoice over your merit. Jaganosati, right? So it depends on what kind of karma you accumulated. There can be difference. Okay?
Question 9. Wandami Sayadaw, having equanimous mind towards living beings without love and hate, have indifferent feeling towards most of the living beings. In our community, will one become heartless? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, one more thing, right? Although we say equanimity, it doesn't mean we ignore all the living beings. That means we just make our mind free from love and hate. Okay? So that means we may have less attachment to living things or non-living things. This is called equanimity, right? It doesn't mean we are heartless. So for example, whenever we are going to do upekkha, we must start with metta, karuna, mudita. Without these three foundations, we cannot continue practicing upekkha. Okay? So in the case of Brahma Vihara, we must practice wisely. So from time to time, we must do metta. Time to time, we have to do karuna. Time to time, we have to do mudita. Now from time to time, we can also do upekkha. Okay? Next one.
Question 10 is a Chinese question.
顶礼下堕，所有心所生和灭的时
Okay.
间间隔相同吗？沙度沙度沙。
Okay. Okay, sure, we can say. Right? Look at me, my moment, right? Without another picture you can imagine. Without any interruption, they will arise. Right? We cannot say gap. Right? Okay. Next one.
Question is also a Chinese
顶礼
question.
下堕，第一座2小时左右，训练入出息，后面是慈心，有妄念，昏沉脑身体又倾斜，脑调整，沙度沙度沙度。这昏沉和身体脑不知不觉又倾斜，调整了，一会儿又倾斜了，弟子该如何做？沙度沙度沙度。
Actually, when your body is so weak, you may bend. This is the normal, right? So if you have like a normal, slightly bending, that you can keep knowing breathing, it doesn't matter. If you bend too much, you don't have natural breathing, you may feel suffocating and easy to breathe. At the time, you must keep straight. As long as you feel free and comfort, not so seriously, I think, right? In this case, just keep knowing the breathing is okay. Next one.
顶礼下堕，请问修止禅强调平衡5根，而没有强调平衡7觉知；修观禅同样强调平衡5根，而不是强调平衡7觉知，为什么？感恩下堕，萨度萨度萨度。
Maybe it's a misunderstanding, right? In the case of Samatha or Vipassana, we can balance both controlling faculties and the enlightenment factors, develop enlightenment factors. Actually, when we talk about concentration, Samayi, Takananada, Niganada, we have mentioned, right? So that means sometimes when mind is lazy, we can do other recollections. For example, Dhammavichaya, Viriya, Piti. When our mind is a little bit weak, also unwilling to meditate or down, right? And then we can do this one, Dhammavichaya, Piti, and Viriya. So sometimes we have too much active mind. It also can cause restlessness. We can also develop Passaddhi, Samadhi, and Upekkha Bojjhanga. So actually, I already explained that one. The main thing is, in Samatha Vipassana, we can develop the enlightenment factors. We can also balance controlling faculties. Okay.
听力尊
Question
者，
Sachin.
正确的精进是不会制造疲惫的，是吗？沙都沙都沙都。
Sure. Sure, we would say right effort, sure, it will not cause tiredness too much, sure. Next one.
Vietnamese question.
Actually, if it can happen, not really very good, right? If you can do everything naturally, it will be easier. You should be self-dependent also, right? Don't depend on coffee or any other external help too much. Okay? Okay, for some time it's okay. For a long time, it's not really very good. Okay, next one.
May I ask, what is the reason that one needs to practice Metta, Karuna, Mudita before doing Upekkha? Does that mean that one needs to have 3 types of mind first before they become Upekkha towards beings? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. So one more thing, Upekkha jhana is a 4th jhana. So by practicing Upekkha, we cannot attain 1st jhana, 2nd jhana, 3rd jhana. Right? Only 4th jhana. So that means without Metta, Karuna, Mudita, up to 3rd jhana, we cannot continue Upekkha. So there are sequence of, actually a really long sequence of Upekkha meditation. For example, we may ready Metta to equanimous being, okay? Or rather, up to that jhana, Karuna up to that jhana, Mudita up to that jhana, the same living beings. Or rather, we have to recall. We have to recall means, although I wish him to be free from danger, he may be in danger, right? That means it's not sure, right? Although I wish him to be free from mental pain, he may have mental pain. Although I wish him to be free from bodily pain, he may have bodily pain. Although I wish him to be free, to be well and happy, he may not be well and happy. Okay. Similarly, we can also recall all the Metta, Karuna, Mudita practice. After that, we also have to recall Sabbe Saddha Karma Saka. All living beings have their own karma. After reviewing or recollecting all these things, now we can start Upekkha meditation. Ayam Sapuriso Kamasako. Right? We can do Upekkha meditation. We can attain only the 4th jhana. So there are many preliminary works to attain Upekkha. That's why Upekkha is not for beginners. Okay? So we need to start with Metta, Karuna, Mudita as the foundations up to that jhana. After that, for 4th jhana, we can do Mudita. We can do Upekkha. Okay, this one.
Question 16. Wandami Siado, most people do not have concentration. If we have to avoid people without concentration, then we may not have many friends in the world. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. So one more thing, right? Here, avoid or associate, we have 2 different things. Association means communication. What if we say communications right? Also like a friendship, we understand like that. But in the case of association here, that means emulate, imitate, follow the way they practice. So that means we communicate or we associate bodily, verbally, and mentally. Sometimes you just associate with them, but you don't like their mind also, right? So in this case, not that much risky. Anyway, it will be some disturbance for you also. That's why association doesn't mean we must not communicate with anybody, right? We should say we must not emulate everybody. We must emulate only those who have concentration. Another one?
Question 7. Please Sayadaw advise how to overcome this case. In daily life, people practice meditation, metta meditation, or another object. The people still have mana and akusala mind. What's wrong with meditation? Sayadaw, thank you very much.
Nothing wrong with meditation. It's wrong with their minds, right? Meditation is a meditation, so their daily life is daily life. For example, when you are focused on the breathing, you are meditating. When you are working in the kitchen, this is your daily life, right? So in the daily life, okay, one more thing. If we train our minds, sure, we may have less mana, less akusala. If we don't train our minds, the more akusala, right? It depends on how you train. So this is their personal, not meditation. Okay? So for example, with some people, they just find faults of meditation. You know? So his meditation that was really, right? After that, he neglected this one, he neglected this one, he neglected this one. He did that many finding faults of meditation. You may have already known, right? Don't practice samatha, you will go crazy, for example. That kind of things, right? Anyway, the main thing is that meditation is a meditation. That means it depends on how people practice, how people accept in their daily life. There will be different effects. For example, if we do metta whole day, whole night, our mind will be flexible, not that much anger, right? So for about humble, like for about mana and other things, there will be many other practice. It make our mind humble. It will make ourselves humble. Okay? So this is the personality, not meditation. Okay? Next one.
Thank you, Sayadaw.
Next one. Okay.
Question 18. Wandami Sayadaw, I'm always sleepy during meditation. Could Sayadaw explain all the ways to overcome sleepiness? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, we can find one suttas to Venerable Kovida. Venerable Kovida was drowsy when he was meditating, and the Buddha taught him to overcome drowsiness. The first one is changing perception. So you can change your perception. Okay, now for your understanding in Anapanasati, if you feel drowsy by focusing on the breathing and breathe out, normally, then you're going to change your perception, whole breath body, from the very beginning to the end. In this way, you can also overcome, right? The other thing is thinking about the text or some Buddhist literature. You may think about one stanza, for example. Okay, we should say, Samatha-Vipassanā Akarana Kusala Subha Samara Sajita Priyodhavana Edam Buddhana Sasana. We are trying to recall the meaning of the stanza, the meaning of very words. In this way, you can also overcome drowsiness. Although you try to recall, you cannot overcome, you can also recite verbally. But in meditation, how you're going to do it, right? When you are meditating alone, you can do chanting, reciting. You can also chant mentally in the very beginning. If you're going to overcome, you can chant verbally, right? Another thing is you can pull your ear, massage your ear, right? Then you can also overcome drowsiness. Then another thing is washing your face. This is very simple already. I don't need to explain. Another one is walking meditation. This is also very simple. I don't need to explain. Then the last one is a little bit difficult for beginners. Think about the light. Let me practice in like kasina. We got aloka sanya, the like kasina. In the case of Venerable Kovida, he has attained second power. He has already achieved many, many jhanas, so it's easier for him to practice like a singer. Right? In this way, we can overcome drowsiness. Next one.
Question 19. Wandami Sayadaw. Sayadaw said, don't associate with people with mind. Will that become not sincere? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, one more time, right? Sincere or not sincere, here we should think about how beneficial it is. Right? So sometimes we have to avoid people. So that means if we sincere, it will be very harmful for them also. For example, I dislike somebody. I will show him with my behavior I dislike him. It will be very harmful for him also, right? So sometimes, okay, although we associate only verbally and bodily, it does not harmful for them. It does not harmful for ourselves. One theory, right? If we sincere, for example, I dislike, I will show my dislike. It will be harmful for both parties, right? So, okay, in this case, sincere or not sincere, we have to think about beneficial or unbeneficial. It will be more important in the community. Next one.
Question 20. Wandami Sayadaw. Many practice Vipassana, but in daily life they don't have Vipassana behavior, like switching on TV. What is the reason here?
Okay. This is they have okay. You have two different things you have to understand, right? Dhamma is a Dhamma. Personality is a personality. If we follow personality, it will be endless, right? Endless means you just see switching off TV, right? Okay, switching off TV. That means he don't wish anybody to see TV, to watch TV, right? This is one thing. Okay, there are many other things in the daily life you dislike. So you have to understand two different things. They are also human being. Okay, so behavior, they can change their behavior anytime. So you have to understand two different things: Dhamma and personality. Dhamma is always correct. Personality can be wrong. Okay.
Thank you, Sayadaw. Question 21. Wandami Sayadaw, I'm practicing 4 elements. How can I continue after retreat without teacher's guidance? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, if you have already learned 4 elements from the teacher, or the 12 characteristics, then you also know how to balance characteristics. As none of that is excessive, it doesn't matter. So you can continue practicing. Then if you can improve maybe something or when you encounter difficulty, teacher will be around you, right? Teacher will be in US, right? In this WhatsApp. You can ask teacher, it doesn't matter. Okay?
Question 22. Wandami Sayadaw, for meditators who could discern their future to the point of complete cessation of nama rupa, can they contemplate on that for practice of recollection of peace? Sadhu, sadhu.
You know what they can do? They can do recollection of peace. Recalling all these experiences, sure. Is it possible? Next one.
The next question is a Chinese question.
顶礼夏多，弟子在家守8戒，出去找工作的时候，弟子视为弟子守8戒，这很少人可以守的，所以就有慢心升起，这该如何克服？沙都沙都沙都。
Okay, so that means morality is not for mana, right? You have already know. Actually, one more thing. You have already know it's a wrong things. That means it's easy for you to change. When you think that you are higher, you can recall many people are higher than you. Okay? So that means there are many people they can practice better than you. Trying to recall their ability, how they are doing. it will be easier for you to be humble, right? Whenever you have mana, you must try to be humble. Recollecting many high quality, high people, high ranking people, right? This one.
Sarah, we don't have any more questions from the
Mm-hmm.
chat group. One more question.
One more question here.
In the chat. Sarah, why I felt pain in chest and back while anapanasati? How to overcome, Sarah?
That means, okay, if you feel pain in your chest, that means you have to control your breathing. Be careful. If you control breathing unknowingly, then you may feel a lot of chest pain and suffocation. This is normal. Another thing, sometimes you control unknowingly or carelessly. That means sometimes you have very subtle breaths that you try to maintain subtle breaths, but you unknowingly control subtle breaths. At the time, you may feel suffocating or chest pain. Okay, so you have to check what happened to you. The main thing is controlling, unknowingly controlling, or unnatural breathing. It can happen. Okay.
We don't have any more questions in the chat group. Dhamma brothers and sisters, do you have any more questions? Okay.
Padmisado, I have a speculative question.
Mm-hmm.
From Bojjhanga to the first fruition, from the first fruition to the second fruition, from the second fruition to the third fruition, and from the third fruition to the fourth fruition. I know all four are very difficult, but is there any way for us to say that the one of them is the most difficult? Or is there a way for us to say that one of them is the least difficult?
I don't understand.
Okay, so among attaining the first fruition, the second fruition, the third fruition, or the fourth fruition, which one is the most difficult one?
Okay. Actually, everything is difficult, right? Right? It depends on many other conditions. For example, I think I already talked about Tukabri Danda this part, right? So it depends on their conditions. We may have different conditions, different level. For example, in the case of Venerable Mahamogala and Venerable Sariputta, right? Well, the first part, Sotapati Magga, is very easy for them. After listening short discourse, they can take easily. But to attain hardship, it take 1 week to 2 weeks, right? So Venerable Mahamogala take 1 week, Venerable Sariputta take 2 weeks. So it depends on how they practice. We cannot say, right, difficult or easy. But one more thing here. When we have like some impurity, impediments, obstacles, also unskilled, then it will be longer. It will become skillful, it will be faster. Okay. So we cannot say which one is easier or difficult, right? So already finished? Already answered? Okay, next one.
No more questions. Any more questions from Dhamma friends here? Ms. Sarah, we don't have any more questions.
Okay.
Proceed to close the session today.
Okay, so we can close. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much for your valuable teachings today. And thank you, our interpreter Bantes, for the translation. May we invite Sarah to lead us in making aspiration and sharing of merits.
Okay.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Idavadaja anmehi sambadam bunya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe satta numodandu sabba sambati siriyam idavada idhamme nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyatayo idhamme nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyatayo idhamme nyatinam hodu Sukhita hontu nyatayo.
ahontu nyatayo,
Idhame punyang.
dame punyam,
Asawakaya.
savakaya,
Waham hotu. Idhame punyang. Nibbanasa. Bhajayo hotu. Mama punya bhagam. Sabha sadanam.
sabasatan,
Bhajemi.
bhajemi,
Te sabe.
te sabe,
Me samam.
me samam,
Punya bhagam.
punyabhagam,
Lavantu.
labantu,
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
sadhu. Thank you, Seattle, and everyone for your time and participation. Tomorrow will be the last session of the Dharma talk. It will be a retreat closing talk. So till we meet tomorrow, may all be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.